Humiliation is one of the many things we want a protagonist to face, just for karma to strike back at the enemy for lowering down their guard. The satisfaction and power that the protagonist will receive in the end is so intense to watch, and so this video here is a continuation to where we last left off with 10 anime, where the main character is humiliated for being weak but turns out to be stronger than everyone else. If you are new around here, then please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel with the notifications bell icon turned on to stay up to date with the latest anime news and recommendations right at your doorstep. Now, without keeping you all waiting, let us begin with the video. So we begin this video with an anime called Vermeil In Gold, developed by Studio Staple Entertainment. This is quite the heavy ecchi series within a fantasy setting, followed a weak protagonist named Alto who can't really summon a familiar and is on the verge of failing his exam. He somehow pretty much managed to find a secret book about demons and suddenly managed to summon a high-level demon who is said to be a huge threat to humanity. She formed a contract with him and has now become his familiar, giving him power and potential to become insanely stronger. It's got decent animation, lots of fan service to enjoy, and that's really it about this show, to be honest. Nothing much else to talk about, but I'm pretty sure it will fulfill those desires to those who wish to watch it. Idaten tells a story of humans and demons coexisting in a fictitious world where demons drive mankind nuts, only to have literate gods in the form of deities called Idetens, for humans to pray for salvation and extinction upon their kind and attain peace for an exchange. And damn, Idaten is such an uncanny, otherworldly anime. Developed by Studio Mappa, this show has quite the just weird looking demon monsters, to be honest, an interesting visual style that you might not be familiar with, which could lead to people dropping the series, but I for one actually really enjoyed this a lot. It's strange looking yet wacky at the same time, but of course in a good way, and you guys should give this one a shot, trust me on this one. Eudemon Quest is a Chinese animation series from 2018. It tells a story where people from the continent of Eudemon have spiritual powers. However, the protagonist in this case is born without any, which is quite rare to see, and with his dream to become the next king of Eudemon, that's quite a difficult task, to be honest. And upon learning that, this anime kind of reminded me of a familiar series like, let's say, Black Clover, where Asta is powerless but wants to become the Wizard King, so I kind of knew where this anime would be going. However, the pacing of the series is where things go horribly long, since, it's kind of all over the place. It's not structured to an incredible degree like Black Clover, but more on the skipping important parts, less character development and all that. It's not the best Chinese anime, nor is it the worst, but leave it that to you guys to decide. Fantasy in general is just such a majestic genre. It creates some of the most spectacular settings, worlds full of wonder and amazement, creatures that we could only imagine come to life to take us to an adventure that we could only dream about. We witness, these epic events unfold before our eyes as huge monsters fight a group of adventurers that are ready to take it on. And Granblue Fantasy is definitely an adventure that encapsulates all of that together amongst many other things that make fantasy so great. Now, not to mention that thanks to some of the great directing and stellar action sequences, the people over at A1 Pictures were able to put together some of the most pleasant and wonderful anime in recent memory. And here's, for example, Granblue Fantasy, which I highly recommend you all to watch. I think the best way to describe Blade Dance is that it's basically just a remake of Zero no Tsukayama with a few additional archetypes thrown in and a few qualities removed. Now the show is a very standard harem where the main character is the only male elementaler in a school full of female elementalers. Predictably, he quickly runs into a cast of about 5 girls who all have affections for him. What the show does well is extremely good as pacing. Most harem shows have a few episodes of pointless stalling to focus on one individual girl and pretend that they're all going to offer some romantic development, while some girls are more or less prominent in Blade Dance episodes. The story does continue to move forward each episode, and there's very little in the way of wasted time, which it does really well. It's not an original anime because, to be honest, we've all seen something like this many times before, but what I got so much from this is enjoyment, and I'm sure you will too if you choose to watch it. As one of the lesser series known from the spring 2013 lineup, which was quite a few years ago, Mushibugyou might have slipped under some people's radar. The series stars Jinbei, a young human who becomes a new recruit of the city patrol. The boy is completely inexperienced but joins the unit to honor his family and protect the people from danger. There's something about Mushibugyou that seems to have more interest that meets the eye. Now, the very first few episodes aren't really very impressive though, so patience is quite necessarily required in order to progress through the series, as it gets so much better over time through development, just like many other series. It's got an interesting story, great addicting characters to follow, and some great samurai slicing action as well.
Go ahead then!
You know, just ask yourself this big question, but how does a show deliver such greatness that cannot be matched by other action shows? The answer is simple. Bento knows its place as an over-the-top parody work. Most shows suffer from being blatant copies of each other and turn bland by the time the second episode pops up. However, every single episode of Bento is simmered, well roasted, and served with refreshments. The show's main appeal is its dramatic fighting sequences, and production David does it so well. Now, do not fear the absurd premise, to be honest. In shopping malls, it is well known, and it's such a fact that discounted goods are pretty much fought over all the time, and Bento just takes it into another account and increases the fighting factor. The ridiculous over-the-top action scenes are rendered and always are so intense to watch. Right up next, we have an anime by the name of BOFURI, created by Silverlink in the year 2020. This is a very lighthearted series taking place in an MMORPG world, but remember, it is not an isekai. Following the female protagonist Maple, she was recommended to play a VR MMO game with her best friend, and upon joining, she decided to only level up her vitality skill to maximize her defensive capabilities, as she doesn't like to get hurt. And doing so, well, she pretty much became almost invincible, almost like a walking knight with a giant shield where nothing, absolutely nothing could ever hurt her. She even got recognized by top players in the game, which was so exciting to see. It's a beautiful anime with good animation, lovable characters, and an adventure full of enjoyment. Season 2 is also coming very soon, which I'm very excited to watch. So this one right here is a bit of a weird anime, and it's another Chinese one. A secret society exists named the Chosen Ones, who protect their planet, and they recruit members to fight for humanity in the so-called rifts. Basically, it means another world filled with dangerous monsters who are a big threat. That's where our protagonist comes in, Lin, who was a selected member, gaining a legendary slaying sword, but The only downside is that he is dumb as a rock. Now, he's only going to get himself beat up quite a bit in the show, and I know many people don't really wish to see a weak protagonist who was dumb and relies on the girls to save him all the time. As speaking of that, it kind of reminds me of an anime named Sekirei, where the same thing pretty much happens until he gets his power at the very end. Now, it's not the best, but it is kind of good. I mean, the animation and the visuals are very pleasing to see. And now finally on the list I'm recommending to you all is Ranking of Kings, a beautiful adventure series created by Wit Studio, where a young prince by the name of Boji was next in line to become the king after the passing of his father. But everyone, however, in the kingdom completely underestimates and makes fun of him for being a deaf child, meaning he can't talk nor hear. He's not the strongest either, but has remarkable skills of dodging attacks, but it's still not enough. This right here is a journey of Boji venturing out into the world to train, get stronger, and become a king everyone can rely on, since that position is only worthy to those who are the best. Great visuals, exciting storyline, and perfect character development, making this anime a huge masterpiece, and if only more people can give it a try, because it is kinda underrated. You just made it to the end of the video and witnessed an anime where the main character is humiliated for being weak but still turns out to be stronger than everyone else. If I've managed to leave any anime out in particular that you thought would be a great addition on the list, then please let me know in the comment section down below, as I'd love to hear your very own opinion, or just comment down below what you thought about the video in general, as I'd always appreciate the feedback. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one.